So to kick off my Dreamcast series, we're doing the top 20 Dreamcast games in my opinion. So I'd like to start with what's my favorite game of all time, and it's Shenmue II. Um, so in this game, you just take on the life of Ryo Hazuki. It's a sequel to the first one, which we'll get to later, and essentially you're just continuing hunting for the man that killed your father, and it's just a very atmospheric, kind of gut wrenching story because you feel so connected to Rio and you want everything to go his way, and it's just every next step gets so much more like you get so much more involved with the story.
なんだ
お前、大丈夫なのか？
何が
女一人で空論城なんかにいて。
And you get to talk to all these characters, and they all have voiced dialogue, and it's just an incredibly immersive experience. You can play games and go to arcades and stuff, and whatever you want. You can analyze any item. It's just the most immersive game ever, in that you can do whatever you really want. So I'm just gonna let the video play out, and so you can soak it in. As you can probably tell, the music is just incredibly atmospheric, and it really is just a touching soundtrack, and it helps you feel the kind of the emotion of the story at any time. And as you can see as well, there's just tons of different scenery in the game, and everything's so highly detailed. You could just take hours just walking around and looking at the world. One thing I didn't really get to show much of was that there's a major fighting mechanic in the game, and it's really just used to advance the story. So if he comes across someone he has to get in a martial arts fight with, then you go about that, and it's just like a Virtua Fighter style combat. It's really fun to play. Now this is my favorite area in Shenmue II, and I just wanted to showcase it, but there's so much more to be seen in the game. The next game that'll be on the list is Shenmue 1, and I am going to just let the title screen play out so you can hear the ambient atmosphere that's created, and it just kind of gives the dark overtone of the whole game. So here goes. As you could probably tell, I was very fond of that scene. I mean, just the graphics in Shenmue 1 and 2 as well are just utterly incredible for Dreamcast, and it's hard to believe what's going on. Now, what you'll notice in this is I wanted you guys to see how widescreen worked with these games, and with Shenmue 1 and 2, there's kind of a big issue with pop-in if you're doing the widescreen codes. I believe this is because of the absurd amount of detail that's already on the screen. The Dreamcast can't handle doing that stuff that's off the screen. And if it was 4:3, it'd be loading in, right when it pans onto the window. Now, I really like the attention to detail in this game, just like Shenmue 2. You really feel personally connected to this world. It feels like a second home, and you just do anything from drink a can of pop, buy food in the store, and win raffle tickets and everything. It's just an incredible experience. And one unique thing is that there's a real-time day-night cycle, and there's weather effects that were true to Japan during that historical period in the 80s. And one thing that's really unique about the game is that you can actually follow any NPC in the city around and literally learn their life schedule, when they get up, when they go to work, where they go home at night. It's kind of almost creepy how much attention to detail there was.
Sure, draw a raffle ticket.
No win.
No prize, eh?
So Shenmue 1 is about simply avenging your father's death.
I should buy
he was
one.
Killed by a Chinese man, and you're just trying to ask around the town, learn more about him, and you'll go to any means in order to learn more. And it just has recreational activities that you can take part in, just to kind of ease your mind a little bit from the tension of the story. So I'm gonna let this play out so you can see a little bit of those.
Starts. One game, 100 yen. I'll play it once. All right. Last one. All right. I'm number one. No more darts. That's enough for now.
So here's just a couple of the capsule toys that you can win in the game. It's just a fun little mini game, and it's fun to get your collection really huge. And these are just a couple out of, I think, maybe nearly 100. Now the next game I'm going to have on my list is Skies of Arcadia, and I'm going to let the intro play out so you can hear how incredible the soundtrack is. Now, while people may complain Dreamcast doesn't have many RPGs, Skies of Arcadia is, like, to me, the quintessential perfect RPG. It just has an incredible sense of adventure, exploration, and discovery. I mean, literally, there's things called discoveries in the games, which is when you're sailing around on your ship to the next area, you can find little secrets, and you become the first pirate to ever learn about them. And essentially, Vice is the main character, and he's just a pirate trying to overthrow the Valuan regime, which is a very bad group of enemies that are trying to essentially take over the world. So I'm going to let this play out a little bit, and you'll be able to see a little bit of the battle system. next on the list is going to be Sonic Adventure, which is the first game in the Sonic series to go 3D. And I remember seeing this as a kid and just being completely overwhelmed by the graphics. It's the first game I ever saw on a Dreamcast. And because literally the only game I had played before this came out was Sonic 2 on the Genesis. And I didn't even know graphics could look like this. I just thought all games were 2D. So this game has a special place in my heart because it kind of opened my eyes to how influential gaming could be and how it could really immerse you into worlds. And this game I like it a little more than Sonic Adventure 2 because it feels more like an actual adventure. You're kind of like exploring this unknown world and learning secrets, and it's got this kind of weird atmosphere. It just really feels incredible. So I'm going to show a little sample of gameplay of an action stage, and here goes. So I follow up Sonic Adventure 1 with Sonic Adventure 2, and I think this game's just absolutely incredible. It's way different than Sonic Adventure 1. It's a lot more arcadey and less kind of actually adventure-y, RPG-y almost. And it's still incredible to me how modern this looks, and it's so fast and fluid, and the graphics are just insane for Dreamcast. I mean, 60 frames a second, and just beautiful detail. So fast. Sonic Adventure 2 was a little different from Adventure 1 in that it only had 3 direct types of gameplay. There was the action stages with Sonic and Shadow, a kind of hunting stage for jewels with Knuckles and Rouge, and a shooting style stage with Eggman and Tails.
Huh. No problem.
Now, Chow World is a very interesting feature that was added into Sonic Adventure series, and it really got fleshed out and made a lot better in Sonic Adventure 2, which is why I'm showcasing this one.
Yep.
So essentially you have these eggs you find in the world, and they're kind of like a virtual pet. You bring them back to this Chow World, raise them, feed them certain items to make them stronger in certain stats, and then when it's all said and done, you can actually, based on those stats, put your Chow into a race event, or in Sonic Adventure 2 battle, I think there's like a fighting event and stuff. And essentially just based on how you did the stats, they'll be better in certain areas. And one little secret is that if you are very nice to the chows with a good player, then they will become kind of holy and white, and eventually you can maybe unlock a different chow world to put them in. And if you're really good to them with a bad guy, then they'll become kind of devilish and dark and black. And there might be a special chow world for them too. Now the next game on my list is easily one of my favorite games ever. However, I played most of it on the GameCube. It's Phantasy Star Online, and I wanted to let this title screen play out because it's probably my favorite game soundtrack of all time. So Phantasy Star Online is a game where, in the story mode, essentially this cruiser has crashed onto an unknown planet, and the other cruiser is going to go rescue the people that have disappeared. And it just becomes a deeper and deeper mission, and more mysteries are unveiled. And the game just has a really kind of creepy vibe, although it's like one of the most beautiful looking games of the generation. So it's a really interesting thing. But the main draw to the game is the online multiplayer, which can still be done with a Dream Pi, which I can get to in another video. And in that multiplayer, you just set up a party of either single to 4 people, and you go hunt monsters, and that's about it. And you just kind of keep running through the levels, and it's almost like a dungeon crawler, but it's executed perfectly so that you're never not making progress. Even if you're hunting for a certain weapon and you don't get that weapon, you're still leveling up and stuff, or maybe your friend finds a weapon they were looking for. So it's kind of this perfect system of constantly making progress so it doesn't become a drag. It's absolutely one of the best Dreamcast games. So Rez is kind of this on-rail shooter. It's kind of like Star Fox or Panzer Dragoon or something, but with just crazy musical, trippy dance visuals. And it's just one of the most beautiful games on the Dreamcast, and it's really fun to put some headphones on, have the rumble pack in the controller, and just soak in the full experience of this game. I'm just going to let this play out. Essentially, it's kind of like a realization of hacking digitally into computers or something, I believe. Definitely a really abstract concept, and one of the most beautiful games on the Dreamcast. Now, Namco's SoulCalibur game was one of the first games I ever played on the Dreamcast. I remember being mesmerized by the graphics and just the fun gameplay of it. I actually never played a fighting game before this, and I remember just getting really good with Nightmare, and that's why I chose him. And I just think it's one of the best 3D fighters ever made. And I'm not even a Tekken fan, which is, I guess, crazy because made by the same people. But I'll just let this play out so you can see how the flow of the combat is.
You win! Versus Voldo. Battle 2, fight! This victory strengthened the soul of Nightmare. You win!
So you came in on the Queen of Hearts?
Uh-huh. Just heading over to Warehouse 12. That's where they put that special cargo.
Right, I heard about that.
Wanna come take a look? Believe me, you'll love it.
I guess I could do with brightening up. All this night work is getting to me. Sometimes I think about going legit.
Forget it. You end up working.
Now, Headhunter is a very unique game for the Dreamcast. It's essentially like a Splinter Cell or Metal Gear Solid. It feels extremely modern, and you're always sneaking around. You can come up behind people and like, snap their necks or whatever, hide behind cover, use decoys, all kinds of crazy stuff. And actually, my video is a terrible representation of it. I'm going to link to another video I made while I was playing the game. I just haven't played it in a while and can't start a late mission, you know, without my skills. But I wanted you to see this level. Jet Grind Radio is kind of a platformer game, I guess. I don't even know how to explain it, but essentially you're grinding around, spray painting stuff, trying to not get caught by the police.
Cool.
It's a very simple concept, and it's extremely fun, and it has an incredible soundtrack, so I'm letting this one play out.
Over there!
Whoa! Yeah! Whoa! Cool! Yo! Die! Ha! Yo! Ha! Yo! Die! Ha! Ha! Yo! Yo! Ha! Yo! Die!
Don't get too close. There's some kids downtown just waiting to get caught.
Whoa! Yo!
Drive time with Darren Johnson.
Experience the premier sports restaurant and entertainment venue, the Sports Cafe, with state-of-the-art audio-visual, 120 TV screens, games, bars, and a great restaurant. The Sports Cafe, where the games never end. www.thesportscafe.com.
3, 2, 1, go!
So up next is Metropolis Street Racer, which is simply a straight-up just street racing game for the Dreamcast. And as you can see, the graphics are incredibly ahead of its time, and it has an amazing soundtrack, and it's great fun, although an extreme challenge. So make sure you go into this one ready to go.
And that was Atomade there with Push.
Darren Johnson's drive time.
At the third stroke, the time sponsored by Diet Tango will be 11 zoos. Bun, bun, bun.
Just got time for
Under Defeat is a game from G-Rev, which is a development team that helped significantly with Ikaruga, as most people know. And it's a top-down shoot-'em-up game, and it's my favorite one ever. So there isn't really much else to say. The graphics are incredible, and the soundtrack is insane. It just gets better and better as the game goes on. I didn't become a Resident Evil fan until I played the remake of the first one on GameCube. Actually, very recently. It was only like a year ago. So I finally went back and played this game, and lo and behold, it's my almost tied for favorite Resident Evil game. The graphics are incredible compared to the rest of the series. They just look so good, and the game's super long for a Resident Evil game. You're going all throughout this giant base, and then eventually you fly to a different area of the game for another disc worth of content, and it has that perfect Resident Evil vibe and tension that all the others have. It's just an incredible entry to the series and a must play for the Dreamcast.
Wait, don't shoot! Who are you? Huh? You're not a zombie. Well, great. Wait right there. I'm coming over. Sorry about that little misunderstanding, but I thought you were another one of those monsters.
Shut up. Make one wrong move and I'll shoot.
Relax, beautiful. I said I was sorry. My name's Steve.
Up next is Dead or Alive, which is probably my favorite 3D fighting game ever. Just has a really great flow to it and just beautiful, crisp graphics. And I also really like the roster. The girls are all great characters. Then Hayabusa, which is the same guy as Ninja Gaiden, is just one of the coolest looking guys of all time. You gotta give him that. So here's some gameplay of that.
Ready? Fight!
私の戦いは終わりじゃない。
はあ！そこか！
戦いたくない。私を行かせて聞いてください、はやぶささん。
颯への誓い、お前は死なせん。行かせるわけにはいかん。そして忍びの道。道は無獄。 厳しいものと知れ。
Get ready, fight!
Welcome to the Power Stone world. A solid beginning may lead to a perfect ending. Go for it.
So up next is Power Stone 2, which is a kind of like similar to Smash Bros or something, but with slightly more of a traditional fighter feel. But on the Dreamcast, of course, not on a Nintendo system. And it's made by Capcom. It's got a just crazy, frantic, fun gameplay with dynamic levels. As you'll see, the ship starts falling apart. Eventually, you have to jump off of it. You can always use the environment to your help as those cannons are there. And the whole goal of the game is to knock these gems away from people. And if you collect 3 on yourself at one time, you can become like a upgraded, transformed character and just wreak havoc on everyone else. So here's a little gameplay sample.
Samba de Amigo!
Up next is Samba de Amigo, which is a rhythm game from Sega, featuring a brand new IP, and it's extremely fun. And there's actually a maracas attachment that you can get for the Dreamcast. I don't personally own them yet, but I have played the game on them, and it makes it leaps and bounds more fun than it already is. It's just a great, straight-up rhythm game with an awesome soundtrack.
Korean. Go to the next stage.
Up next is a slightly less well-known game. It's called Cool Cool Toon. It's from SNK, which are mostly known for things like King of Fighters and Last Blade, Samurai Showdown, Metal Slug, games like that. So this is a wildly different game for them. It's essentially just a rhythm game, but it has a very unique sense of control, which you'll see in a little bit. And there's also a pretty in-depth story mode where you advance through different worlds and talk to characters, and there's slight gameplay changes throughout it, and it gets very difficult, but it's extremely fun, and I had a great time beating this game. So here's a little bit of the gameplay. Essentially, you just move your thumbstick around this circle and click the corresponding button at the right time. Now, that's how I played the game, but you can also use the Samba de Amigo maracas with it as well, and that's extremely fun. I mean, you circle the one arm around to wherever direction it's supposed to be and shake the other maraca right on the beat. So here's some gameplay.
「
So here's Ikaruga, the incredible shoot 'em up game from Treasure with some assistance from G-Rev. This game is a classic for the Dreamcast. Everyone loves it. I mean, it's just a must-have. It has an amazing soundtrack, glorious graphics, and the gameplay is very unique for a shoot-'em-up. Essentially, you have these two different colors, red and blue, or bluish white, and you turn into the blackish red ship, and you can absorb those red bullets, and if you turn into the whitish blue ship, you can absorb those blue bullets. But the contrast is that you're stronger against red enemies if you're blue, and you're stronger against blue enemies if you're red. So there's kind of this, if you want to increase your offense, you have to decrease your defense kind of thing. So it makes a really fun gameplay system, and the game can get extremely difficult, but I was able to beat it on easy after racking up a bunch of extra continues, if that makes you feel better.
To the world of Street Fighter 3.
Alright, my second to last pick is Street Fighter 3 The Third Strike. This is Capcom's final revision of the Street Fighter 3 game, and it just has the best gameplay, best character selection, best music of it, in my opinion, any Street Fighter game ever made. And it's just very fast, fluid gameplay with awesome 2D backgrounds, so check it out. Last but not least is King of Fighters Evolution, otherwise known as King of Fighters 99. This game is a slightly controversial pick, I guess, even though it's my number 20, because some people for some reason didn't like these backgrounds of this game. SNK's always been known for 2D backgrounds, but in this game for the Dreamcast port they did 3D backgrounds. Now the catch is that these backgrounds are being rendered at 240p, so in actuality they look incredible. If you pause them at any frame, they just look like a pixel art 2D background, but you'll see right here that it's actually 3D polygonal world, and it just kind of gives this depth and immersiveness to a fighting game that you don't really ever see. And I really like that it kept the 240p aesthetic. Plus it's King of Fighters, super fun, can't go wrong. So here's a little gameplay.
Fight!